Everyone right there on YouTube, Thumb 1000 Productions here. Today's the day. Time for me to ask your silly questions. Um, I do want to apologize for it being quite a while. I've been busy with quite a few things, a little bit of college and a little bit of computer troubles. So yeah, thank you all for your patience. And well, with that being said, let's roll the questions. Sojourn Harbor Productions asks, favorite British locomotives? Well, for me, I quite like a lot of British steam engines. One in particular is the L&ER A3, which is what the Flying Scotsman is. There's also the Lancashire and Yorkshire Class 28, which is pretty local to where my dad used to live. And it's also the basis of a certain red tender engine that we all know and love. My personality is pretty much the same as his. There's also the British Rail Class Q1. Disagree with me if you want, but I kinda like the look of these engines. They're very unique, something I've never seen before. And when I saw the Season 9 episode, Thomas and the New Engine, I was quite intrigued by the look of Neville. It's kinda like a shape of a steam engine that you just never see anymore. As for diesels, there's the Intercity 125. I've always been fascinated by that high-speed train set. Rail Gamer Productions asks, what inspired you to start the documentaries? That's actually a very, very good question, and I was hoping someone would ask me that. Well, I actually got a lot of basis for the documentaries. For example, there was Trainwrecks, hosted by John Bonnell on Spike TV, Investigative Reports, Danger on the Rails, and even Mayday Air Crash Investigation, admittingly. But the main basis was actually something else that's totally not related to trains or aircraft. The actual inspiration of the documentaries was on another documentary on the Wichita Falls tornado of 1979. For those you don't know, on April 10th, 1979, a huge F4 tornado ripped through the heart of Wichita Falls, Texas. The tornado in question touched down near Seymour, northwest of Abilene, and took direct aim at Wichita Falls. It reached over a mile wide with multiple vortices spiraling around each other with wind speeds of up to 200 miles an hour and left a 47-mile wide path of destruction. It was at that point one of the most deadliest and costliest tornadoes in American history, with over $1.74 billion of damages in today's money, and also killed 42 people. After watching that documentary, I thought I could do a similar styled one, this time on the Chase, Maryland accident of 1987, since the 30th anniversary was coming up. But it was only after the Big Bayou documentary that I thought I should turn it into a series, and well, that's where we are today. The Time is Meow asks, favorite steam whistle type or air horn? Well, I'm going to answer both of those for you. Favorite steam whistle is obviously the Pennsylvania Railroad 3 chime. As for favorite horn, that goes to the Leslie S2M. Reese Hare, I hope I pronounced that right, Union Pacific Big Boy or Southern Pacific Cab Forward? The Cab Forward, because Southern Pacific and they look really, really nice. Ohio Railfan Production asks, do you want to work for the railroad? If so, what railroad and what job would you do? To be honest, I'm not so sure. I'm getting myself a degree in media and communications at both Monco and Temple, but who knows, maybe I could get a job in the Septa media department filming things like trains, trolleys, buses, and whatever. So yeah, I'm not sure if I would go into the railroads. I mean, it certainly was a career option when I was thinking about it, but to be honest, I'm not quite sure yet. Thomas Bowes here has a lot of questions. His first one is, what railroad did Hunter Harrison help or hurt more when hired as consultant or CEO? I would have to say he hurt CSX a lot considering all the derailments that they... His second question is, which is better for spending time with, O scale, HO, or N scale? I would have to go with HO, because HO is very cheap and very easy to work with. Don't get me wrong, I really like O scale because of their size, but they're more expensive And to be honest, HO is the way to go. I just said a pun. I'm Sans. His third question, which aircraft would you prefer to fly in? My answer would be Jumbo. Jumbo. I'm pretty sure nobody got that reference, but I just like the look of jumbo aircraft, particularly the 747. His fourth question, which is better for railroading in general, 7 supersized companies or several hundred small regional railroads? I would have to go with 7 supersized because they seem to be going well for us right now. And his final question, which is better for business in general, unit trains or every car is LCL, loose car railroading? No idea what loose car railroading is, but I'd have to go with unit trains then. Sam, the ATSF fan, asks, what are your top 5 favorite American steam locomotives? The Pennsylvania Railroad K4s, the Reading T1s, also known as the T-Hogs, the Pennsylvania Railroad M1s, the Lehigh Valley Black Diamond, and the Southern Pacific Daylights. Garrett Crashes 184 asks, hey, what's your favorite train engine, and where do you get all those crashes from? As stated before, my favorite locomotive in general is the Pennsy K4, in particular 3750. As for where I get the wrecks, I usually just look around online or news articles if I hear one. Andrew Jordan has a few questions. What is your favorite Septa Airhorn? As stated before, it's the Leslie S2M. What do you like doing most on your channel? Documentaries, railfanning, or engines of Septa? Ooh man, this is a tough one to answer, because I like doing all 3 of those. But if I had to choose one, it would have to be engines of Septa. I get a lot of joy when I'm putting the videos together, so yeah. His final question is, will you do another Engines of series once you complete Engines of Septa? Yes, I will. I will likely do Engines of the PRR to compete with Amtrak I-365's Engines of NYC, or I might even do Engines of the Reading as well, considering the fact that not many people give the Reading enough love. Engineer Pat 5290 asks, do you like GE or EMD? EMD, hands down. See, God of Awesome 1212 the Fox, probably pronounced that wrong. Favorite extinct non-Pennsy steam locomotive? That would have to be the Reading G1SAs. These were the backbone for the passenger fleet of the Reading Railroad. I especially like the streamlined Reading Crusader. Yes, it looks the same as the New York Central's Mercury with the upside down bathtub, but I don't care. It's a shame though that only the observation coach survives today, which currently resides at Strasburg. Arlington Trainsweather 124 and Norfolk Southern 8102 Production ask the same question. What's my favorite NS Heritage unit or Heritage unit in general? That's obviously 8102, the Pennsy unit. Arlington also asks what's my favorite steam engine in excursion use. If you're counting retired steam engine excursion stars, then 1361, but if not, then 611. His final question, will you record more sirens? Well, not likely due to my siren enthusiasm has rapidly declined, but it is possible I might do ambience recordings in the future. Heritage Unit 1943 asks, top 3 favorite UP Heritage units. Number 3, UP 1995, the Chicago Northwestern unit. Number 2, UP 1983, the Western Pacific unit. And number 1, 1996, the Southern Pacific unit. His second question, top 3 favorite NS Heritage units. Well, here we go again. Number 3, 1073, the Penn Central unit. Number 2, 1067, the Reading unit with the B-line service paint. And number 1, I don't need to say it again, do I? It's 8102, the Pennsy. He also asked, what video are you most proud of? Well, I feel like I improve with almost every video I do, and it's pretty hard to choose just one. But if I had to, it would be either the recent episode of Engines of Septa on the Norristown Bullets, or it would have to be the Hinton train collision documentary. I think when I did both of those, it was my best work so far. And his final question, wow, that really is a random question. What's my favorite collision? If you're saying what's the most interesting collision, that would be the Chase Maryland one. When I was researching and putting the video together, a lot of the facts that I was looking up were actually pretty intriguing. For example, just shortly after I uploaded the video on it, I realized that there was an additional fact that I left out. Believe it or not, the Amtrak train was actually speeding a little bit, going 128 miles an hour instead of 125. And also, Ricky Lynn Gates may have been not the sole one responsible for the crash. After all, whoever silenced that signal alarm with duct tape is also responsible for Gates' missing signals. Whether that's him or not that did that is beyond me, but either way, it is pretty interesting. K-Master 2007 asks, what's your favorite car? When it comes to cars, there's one brand. Ferraris. I freaking love Ferrari cars, particularly the F40 seen here. I grew up liking them when I was a kid, and I'm a fan of them ever since. They're Italian muscle for sure. His second question is the same as Norfolk A102 Productions question. What is my favorite steam engine? That has to be Pennsylvania Railroad K4 3750, the only K4 in one piece. His third question, what's your favorite engine that the Penn Central used? Ooh, that's a good one. Da Gigi Juan. I've been waiting to do that joke. And finally, why did you start this channel? Well, originally I created this channel to show off some of the sirens in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, in the local area where I live. Of course, my siren enthusiasm began to drop, especially after the T-128s came along, and then it moved on to the kind of trains I caught, and, well, that's where we are today. Stephen Huang 05, gosh, that was a horrible pronunciation, he asked, when did you first start liking trains? I'm gonna have to say the story starts way back, and I mean like way back. Of course, when I was just around 3 years old, I obviously grew up around Thomas the Tank Engine, watching seasons 2 through 4 narrated by George Carlin, with the exception of Better Late Than Never and other stories. That was by Ringo. Before you ask, yes, I was nicknamed Thomas the Train in school, but it was more like a compliment to me, and it was thanks to the show that I used this creative word when I screwed something up.
Bother those trucks, he thought. Bother, said Bertie. Bother Thomas's fireman not coming to work today.
I also grew up around Shining Time Station, such as Billy's Party being one episode, and Bully for Mr. Conductor. I especially love the character Schemer, who nails the performance. He was by far my favorite character. I also grew up around another small steam engine that was never shown on TV. Yeah, that's right. New Hope and Ivyland number 40 was my other childhood engine. Frequently, my parents would take me out to New Hope and Ivyland to go up on the half-hour trip between Lancaster and New Hope Station. But not only that, we'd also go to frequent train shows or even Toys R Us to pick up a lot of Thomas merchandise, such as take-alongs or even wooden stuff. In fact, I still have a lot of them still laying around, and most of these are pretty rare now, such as this Sodor Scrap Company truck, this double bogey truck, and this China Clay truck too. I also happen to own the rare Poco model, but you can't have it because it's mine, and it's awesome, and I put it away in storage somewhere. So yeah, eventually I began to learn how to ride Septa by myself, and well, that's how I got into trains today. Harrison Let Time Traveler asks, do you want to be the CEO of Septa or Amtrak? I'm not so sure about that. Did you hear Hyundai Rotem were going to shut down the Philly plant to manufacture the Silverliner 5s? No, I did not. Do you know Cotton Belt SD40T? Yes. Yes, I do. I've heard of him. Do you ever travel anywhere? And if so, was it always by train? Well, that's sort of a yes and a no at the same time. On almost all my railfanning trips, I do have to take the train to get there, with only a few needing me to be driven there by another railfan or something else like that. Sometimes I've even used the train to get to, somewhere not relating to Railfanning at all. Like for the Savior of the World performance, I had to take the train down to Center City to go see Savior of the World at the Philadelphia Temple. Okay, fine. I guess that doesn't count anyway. Ugh, me and my Fomerisms. Despite that, though, some other trips I don't need to take the train at all, though. Especially if I'm going to the beach or something. So, to sum it up, some trips I do take the train there, sometimes I don't. SonicFan09N asks, who do you think is going to build the Silverliner 6? Don't know. Definitely not Hyundai Rotom. When do you think the Ampletes will get retired? I guess 10 or 20 years down the road. What Leslie Horn is your favorite? I think we already discussed this answer. Number 4. Do you think when all the AC-64s and double-deckers will we see push-pulls back on the Maniac Norristown, Warmester, and Lansdale Doylestown? To be honest, with lines such as the Warmester, and even my home line, I wouldn't consider it too possible, considering the fact that the lines aren't as long as others that already see push-pulls, such as the Paoli-Thorndale and the Wellington-Newark, which is actually the longest in the system. I would personally think push-pulls coming back to Lansdale would actually be a pretty nice idea, considering how crowded that line is, but as for my line and the Warmester, I'm not so sure. It would certainly be cool to see push-pulls back on my home line again, but considering it's only 18 miles away from the city, nah. Will F40PH asks, what is your favorite Amtrak locomotive? Well, I was going to say the Toaster, but now that I think of it, I'm kind of between the Toaster and the E60 now. For one thing, the E60s just look really mean and real nice. And plus, the horns. That Nathan P01235 horn just can't be beat. It just can't. I've never seen an E60 in my life, sadly, because I was born way too young to see them, but to be honest, I'm gonna have to go with the E60. They just look cool. He also asked, do you like the EMD F125 or the Siemens SC44? SC44, I don't need to say why, you already know why, because just, you know why. His final question, where's your favorite place for railfanning? That would have to be Levittown. During its construction in 2016, I saw so much stuff. Regionals, Keystones, Acellas, Septa's Trenton line, and heck, even Conrail's shared assets trains with some of the best RS3Ls I've ever heard on my life. Even 5286, the Operation Lifesaver unit. So yeah, if I had to choose a best spot, it's Levittown. Do you ever plan on doing videos in Train Simulator? Yes, I do. Do you like the Boston and Maine Railroad Company? Yeah, I do. Adam Messman asks, would you be able to supply a link where I can find the first song used in your Silver Springs Collision 22 years later and Hinton Train Collision 32 years later videos? Are you talking about this track? Ah, yes. That song is called Oriental RTRKB17 by freesound.com. freesound.org/people/ERH. I'll provide a link for you in the description so you can use it yourself. Just note, the original is slightly lower pitched than the one I use because I like to pitch everything up for some reason. Maybe it's because I'm nuts. Corridor Guy 642 asks, how many ACS64s will be for Septa? That would have to be 15. And how long did you like trains? Well, ever since I was a baby I was into trains, so yeah, there's your answer. Ethan Sorber asks, do you use Train Z for some of your documentaries? Well, not really. The only one was the Crazy 8s one, but that was a simulation by another YouTuber. Gamerboy Jalen asks, what's your favorite train company besides Septa, Amtrak, and Metra? Norfolk Southern. Allison Rittmeyer asks, which locomotive do you like better, the F59PH or the F59PHI? I would have to go with the F59PHI. FGC Gaming asks, do you like the Pennsylvania Railroad? I don't know, you tell me. He also asks, what Windows do you use? I currently use Windows 8.1 Pro. Yeah, I know, it's a crappy system, but whatever. His third question, do you like the 1225 or the J3A Hudson? The 1225. His final question, do you have HO scales? No, but I plan to get some in the future. Oregon Western Railroad Productions asks, do you do model railroading? If so, which scale? Well, sort of. I do have a Pennsylvania Railroad 3-rail O-scale C1 starter set laying around, but I had to put it away in storage because my dad needed the basement space. But I do plan to start an HO someday, but we'll have to see. If you could replace any modern loco with an old one, which would you choose? Ooh, this is a good one. I would replace the smelly Dash 9s with good old Pennsylvania Railroad M1Bs or something like that. Thoughts on Reading 2100 and 2102 being restored?
This is the best day of my life!
The fact that two T-Hogs that came from the railroad that literally went around my home area just makes me ecstatic. Though I do hope on 2100 they remove those disgusting ditch lights off of her, otherwise I'll react like this.
I changed my mind! This is the worst day of my life!
Finally, which was the most rare thing you ever saw while railfanning? Ooh, I've seen a lot of rare stuff. 670's test run on the Keystone Corridor, 1073 on 39G, test runs and training cars and stuff like that. Even the wire train down on the West Trenton line. But if I had to choose the rarest thing, it would have to be the 2 times I saw the NS Stone train in full op. This train literally comes once in a blue moon. Like, it is very, very rare to see it because, like most NS trains of this type, it's only running as needed between Birdsboro Yard and yards that need the stone, for example. So, yeah, if I had to choose the rarest thing, I'm gonna have to go with the stone train catches because I've only seen it twice. Once at Sharon Hill, and once on the 30th Street elevated bridge, which you see right now. Railroad Million asks, have you ever been to Seattle, Washington? No, I have not. Dominic's Trains and Movies asks, do you like cake or cookies more? I'd have to go with cookies. They're delicious. Keller Railfan and Dominic's Trains and Movies all ask, favorite railroad? The Pennsy. Gaming and Trainbow 10 YouTube asks, what's your opinion on CSX CEO James M. Foote? He's a heck of a lot better than Hunter Harrison, I'll tell you that. Message. Ginger Drizz asks, what steam locomotive are you excited for returning to service? That would have to be Pennsylvania Railroad K4 1361. It's gonna be a while, but I just can't wait. Nathan Gethneller, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Do you have a model layout? Not yet. Mason Liskay asks, do you have any Lego trains? I have a couple somewhere, so yes. Well, there's a whole lot of questions I haven't answered yet, and this video is approaching over 25 minutes long, so check in for part 2, and we'll look at some more questions. Bye.